I'm just in the bath right now and I thought I would record a little voice note, a little podcast, whatever comes out. I think I've finally worked out what gives me my creativity and what makes everything I say seem so authentic, and that's when I have my thoughts to just document them. They don't need to be good thoughts, they don't need to be thoughts I'll ever post, and I probably won't ever post this, especially because the audio quality is definitely so bad. But I just wanted to come here and while I'm relaxed, while I'm at peace, while my brain is still, just share some thoughts from the bath. And hopefully at least my relaxed state will reach whoever's listening to this, even if it's just myself listening to it back, and feel relaxed and free to say whatever she needs to say. And that's the point. Actually, I feel really peaceful right now, and that means my mind's still and it can just exist and have thoughts. And I'm realizing that the most authentic thoughts come from just letting them evolve as they come out. I speak to myself so much. I always have an internal monologue going on. Sometimes it is a dialogue. But I'm always talking to myself, and this is how I realize the things that I know, is when I'm thinking about things and then thinking about why, and I'm trying to understand them better. I really want to start capturing these moments where the thought is evolving and I'm capturing the thought evolving, instead of needing to have the thought, write it down, and suddenly now I've got to make a plan about it. Because when I just have the thought, I actually get to the really deep insight. Imagine you're just a fly on the wall to my inner monologue. Something that happened last night, actually. I worked really hard on a viral style reel because I wanted to get reach. I wanted people to land on the page and be able to be ready to join so that they can listen to the podcast when it went out. And I put all this pressure on it doing well because I'd worked so hard on this reel. In the first 3 hours, it got 150 views, and I was like, okay, this is flopped. And then I was getting really worried because what if I keep posting and it keeps flopping? And then I was putting all this pressure on something I really believed deep down was going to do really well, that I was creating all this resistance to it actually just doing well instead of just letting it go. As soon as I was thinking, I trust myself, I know what I've made is good, I'll let it do its thing. If it doesn't get more than the views it's got now, that's okay. I'll keep creating them because I enjoy it. If it lands with someone, it will land with someone. So I let it go. And I went to sleep. And I woke up the next morning and I felt really peaceful because my mind was still. It didn't care how it was doing. It didn't even think, I need to see this right now. I just let it go. I got up, I saw the sunlight, I read my meditation books, and I just relaxed and had a slow morning. I went to look and I saw overnight it was at 2,000 views. I was like, whoa, this was viral for the amount of followers I had. When I let it go, I was opening up to the possibility of it doing well. So yeah, I let it go, and I actually tried to record the first episode of my podcast today. I say 3 times. I think that's being kind. I think it was more like, I don't want to say 100, but I definitely started off almost 100 times. The best take I got about 3/4 of the way through, and I realized I was just thinking so deeply about everything and I wasn't relaxed anymore because I'd hit record. And I hit record and it was intentional podcast time instead of just recording when I'm having the thoughts. I started recording this thinking that it was just going to be practice and I was never going to use this. But actually, what I've learned from this is that this was the perfect way to introduce the podcast and how I'm going to go about creating the podcast, because I want it to be authentic and I want it to come from thoughts, and I want you to be able to hear the thoughts I have and be able to use them to spark a thought in your own head or spark something in your own life. And instead of having this really curated podcast that I'd already planned, I'd already done the thinking, I'd already written the thinking down, I'd structured it so it would be clear and concise and follow a path. Actually, I just need to trust myself, and so I'm setting this off on the right tone by doing things this way. And I really believe that the most authentic podcasters always land the best, because they're not pretending, they're not performing because there's a record button. They're just capturing the thoughts and feelings that we all have and all share. I look forward to speaking to you all and having our next catch-up call, our next late night deep chat call in the first episode. Trust yourself. I will see you then. Mwah.